Hello and welcome. Today I'm finally getting around to doing a VR to Anna at Astrolady Tarot and her really fun and interesting tarot tag, Am I a Cliched Tarot Reader? So I kind of procrastinated about doing this. I had planned to do it since I first saw Anna's original video, but I knew it would involve taking out lots and lots of decks and then putting them away. And I guess I was just being a little bit lazy about the whole thing, and so kept putting it off. But anyway, it's a rainy, soggy day here, and I thought, what better thing to do on a rainy, summery day than a tarot tag? So, without further ado, the first prompt is, do I have more than one version of the same deck? And yes, I do. So I'm going to start with the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I'm not even going to show all of the iterations of that deck that I have. There are quite a few. I thought I would start with this one. It's falling apart. The Radiant Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. And this was the deck that I really learned how to read tarot with. So my first tarot deck I got many, many years before I got this deck. It was the Mother Piece, and I used it, on and off for many years, but I didn't really learn how to read tarot until I got this deck. And I started to use it on a daily basis. I don't really need to show the cards. Everybody knows what it looks like, but I really like the coloration of this deck better than the regular old Rider-Waite-Smith, which I had a hard time with and was not really able to work with. So this one was the one that really got me off and running in terms of tarot. And just thought I'd show a few others. So then I have this one, the Pamela Coleman Smith RWS Tarot. So PCS RWS Tarot by Lo Scarabeo. And this deck was actually, when it came out, was actually unavailable in the United States. I tried ordering it, like I went on British Amazon and French Amazon, and then when I entered my address, they said, oh, unable to mail to this address. So at one point while I was trying to get a hold of this deck, because I loved the coloration of it, I was going to England to visit my cousin for the holidays. And so I thought, ooh, I will order this deck from UK Amazon and have it mailed to my cousin's house. And then when I'm visiting them, I'll have the deck. So that's how I got this deck. I did a little sneaky Pete and outfoxed US Games by having it mailed to a different country. I love the coloration on this deck. I really, really do. I think my favorite is coming up the swords. Oh, those blues and greens, that Two of Swords. Oh, it's just, these are just, the colors are gorgeous. So everyone knows what these decks look like, but I just thought I'd show. Then I got this one. So apparently they got around the US Games copyright by calling this the Radiant Y Spirit. So we still have the RWS, but they renamed it. But it's basically the same deck as this one, only matte and no borders, but it's the same colors. And I like that one too. Let's see. Oh, this one I got for teaching. So this big, giant Rider-Waite-Smith. I mean, it really is huge. But it's really great when you're teaching a tarot class because you can really point out all the different things. Folks can really see things. It is slightly sloppy in terms of the line work, I think, just because it is so big, and it's been blown up. But as I said, I don't use it for reading. I just use it for when I teach tarot classes. So a few years ago, I had a really, a bit, one of those turning decade birthdays, and I thought I would treat myself to this deck. It's a Carol Herzer. It's the Illuminated Starlight Tarot. I think it was maybe $80. It was pricey, but I just thought, I'm treating myself. I am going to just go for it. And boy, I'm glad I did. I was lucky at the time. Someone had given me a little money for my birthday, and I thought, I'm just going to take that money and buy this deck. And I love this deck. I use it a lot. I like to travel with it because it has its little pouch that Carol makes. So part of what you get when you order the deck is this lovely pouch to keep it in. And it's really sturdy, and it is laminated. Some people don't like that. They think it's too shiny, but I'm fine with it. And I'm really happy that I bought this deck, and I love it and treasure it. Another version of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I have is this one. It's the Golden Ryder. And I saw folks posting it years ago and talking about it on Instagram and YouTube, and I just thought, that is fun. I mean, look at that Empress. Nice eyeshadow. I really like this deck. I like the coloration. And I couldn't find it in English, so I went on to French Amazon and got it in French. And I actually am happy to have it in French because I'm a Francophile and I love French things. And so I just think it's so much fun to have it in French. And I don't care about getting an English version of it. Then the last Rider-Waite-Smith that I was going to show you guys is this one. And this is also a Carol Herzer. And this is a deck that I probably would have never bought for myself because it is really pricey, and you can't see it on the camera, but it's that real glittery, sparkly version of it. And a friend of mine, an online tarot friend of mine, had this deck and then sent it to me in the mail unannounced, telling me that they got a message or got a feeling that the deck needed to go to me, and sent it to me. I was so shocked and so amazed, and I didn't want to accept it because I thought, that is such an expensive gift. Whoa. But, my friend said, no, I really want you to have it. Please keep it. So I have. Quite the gift. Anyway, those are all my Rider-Waite-Smith. But wait, there are more decks that I have the same version of, or more than one version of. So this is one of my all-time favorite decks, the Tarot de Saint Croix. And as you can see, it's well loved, it's beat up. I just did another video where I talked about this deck, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But this is really kind of well loved and, as I said, beat up. So Lisa de Saint Croix, who is the artist and creator of that deck, recently revised it and took the orange borders off. This is now borderless, and it's matte. and it's lovely, and I'm really glad that I have it. I like having both versions, but the orange one has my heart. And I recently just reached out to Lisa and said, do you by any chance have any more orange ones left? Because now I feel like I really need a backup, which is now merging into the next prompt. Do I have any backup decks? So Lisa said she had a few left, so I have just ordered a backup deck of the orange version of the Tarot de Saint Croix, because I would be heartbroken if I didn't have that. So other decks that I have backup versions for, Morgan Greer. I have a little pocket deck. And then Next World. Love this deck. This is the original, really, really big. So here's a standard tarot. You can see how big it is. So mainly, I guess this isn't so much a backup version as it is. Before the pandemic, I was traveling a lot for work, and I like to bring a lot of decks with me when I travel. And so it really is nice having these smaller versions with me. Plus, you know, you kind of get your energy into the larger ones, or the ones that you use regularly regardless of the size. And, you know, I wouldn't want to lose them, or also getting them exposed to all the airplane and airport people energy. So I have those two backups. And then another one of my very most favorite decks is the Gaian. This is the Llewellyn. This was my first version of this deck, and I was thrilled to see a deck that had so many different kinds of folks included. You know, like people you see in your real life. I love the artwork. I just adore this deck. So I got this deck, used it all the time, loved it to pieces. And then I don't remember how I heard about this or where I first saw this, but Joanna Powell Colbert, the artist and creator of this deck, had a limited edition of this. So you can see there's quite a big difference in size. So I thought, well, okay. So I did get this one. And again, I'm glad I did. It's the same deck. It's just bigger. It's matte. It's not shiny. But I'm just glad to have this. And so this deck I use for readings for myself. And the other one I use readings for clients and other people. And last but not least, I have my original Sasaburrito, which I got in a trade, and I adore this deck. So I use that for myself a lot, and then I also used it for clients. And I decided, you know, I think I'm going to get a backup version just to use for myself, and the other one I'll use just for clients. So that's what I've been doing. So I think that's all my true confessions on that. Oh, no, sorry. This is a flashback to the first one. So here's a little deck. It's a Ryder Waite-Smith. And actually, this could probably be its own prompt in the tag. Do you have any modified decks? So this is a modified deck. This is the Albano Waite deck. And I was inspired by a video by Veronica Jude, who's like the queen of tarot mods. So I like round decks, and I like the Ryder Waite-Smith. So I got this Albano Waite, and I got a big, whole punch, 2-inch hole punch. And I modified this deck into a little round deck. And it is great for traveling because you can see how teeny it is. And I just happen to have this little tarot pouch that a friend of mine made me. It was for jewelry, for traveling with jewelry, but it just happens to fit that albano weight. So, sorry, flashback to number 1. So now, number 3, tarot tats. I don't have any tarot tats, but I do have a plan for a tarot tattoo. How about tea? Well, prompt number 4 is, do I drink tea? Well, since I'm not only a tarot reader, but also an herbalist who grows and makes my own teas or herbs to make herbal teas with, of course I drink tea. Right now I'm drinking a lovely Tulsi or holy basil tea that I made from Tulsi growing in my yard. I've let it kind of cool off because it's a hot day. Oh, it's delicious. So, of course, how could we not drink tea when we're tarot readers, and an herbalist? So prompt number 5 is, how about crystals? So I probably have almost as many crystals as I do tarot decks. I don't know if you can see in the background, there's some rose quartz, got some fluorite over behind me. Right on my table here. So yes, I am a big crystal person. I love having crystals around me in my sacred space. I have crystals in my garden, outside my front door, like for protection. And they're also beautiful. So I do use crystals. I do store some of my decks with crystals. I do readings with crystals. So yeah. How about tarot books? Well, that's another thing I have a lot of. But I love tarot. I love books. I love reading. And so why not? I don't know. I'm just going to tip this a little bit. There's just sort of a bookcase with some of my tarot books in them. So yeah, I do have a lot of tarot books, and I enjoy them. I learn about them. I learn more and more about tarot from reading tarot books. Duh, kind of a dumb statement, but I don't know. I'd love to do like a tarot book club. I think that would be a lot of fun to just, take some of our favorite books. Like I love Rachel Pollack's book. In fact, one of the most recent, it's called Forest of Souls. It's by Rachel Pollack. Can't recommend it highly enough. It goes way beyond just, this is the Fool, this is the Magician, this is the High Priestess, this is what they mean. It's a wonderful book, and I adore Rachel's brilliance and insight that she brings to tarot. Tarot journal. So, yes, this is my current version, and I am not like, you see some people with their gorgeous artwork and, they print out the cards and put them, no, I just have different color big pens that I use, and I write the date at the top of the page, and then I just kind of write a little bit about the day and the cards that I pulled and what that all means to me. And then sometimes in the evening, I might kind of revisit, but not always. But yes, I have many, many, many boxes of these journals. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all those? Shuffling. Well, of course, shuffling. It's a thing, isn't it? And I have really small hands, so not every tarot deck can I shuffle, and rarely can I shuffle them the long way. I usually have to do what I call the sideways shuffle, and so good cardstock or particular cardstock is really important. So with this shuffle prompt, I'm also adding on cardstock. So cardstock is really important to me, and especially, as I said, since I have small hands and I have to shuffle sideways. So I just got a deck recently. Oh, I think it was the Super Lunaris and the Moon Baby. Beautiful cardstock, really fabulous to shuffle sideways. So yeah, shuffling is a thing. It's relaxing. Sometimes I will just kind of sit there in a meditative way, overhand shuffle or sideways shuffle. I do enjoy that, and I do find it calming. And I'm feeling a little ridiculous saying this, but hey, if that's all it takes to calm me down is to do a little shuffling, not bad, eh? Fairy lights. Let's see if I can go over here. They're not on because they just burned out, but all around that window is a string of blue fairy lights, which I'm going to have to replace because, as I said, they just burned out. How about candles? Well, of course. We've got to have candles. I can't even imagine doing a tarot reading without a candle. And for me, I prefer beeswax candles. So what you see over here, these are beeswax candles. And then over here is just a 7-day paraffin candle. So yeah, I love candles. Even in the summertime, I'll have candles. As I said, beeswax is particularly a favorite of mine, and that's what I tend to use most, beeswax candles. So, prompt number 11, a dedicated space or area in my home. Well, this is it. This is my tarot reading room, my sacred space, my ritual space, whatever. So here's my altar, my main altar, and you can see crystals and candles there, and of course cards. There you can see the living wheel, which is one of my favorite decks that's always out. And then I have behind me another little altar, and then over in front of me is another little altar. So even within this sacred space of mine, I have like 3 or 4 altars. Why not? Let's see. So I thought I'd add a couple on. Decks for travel, decks for on the go, decks that will go in my purse. So this is the one that I usually have with me in my purse. It's little. I did edge it. It's a Ryder Waite Smith, and I'm really sorry I can't remember I think, is it called Pixies Tarot? But I love the antique look of it. And again, for me, it's a great size for shuffling because I can actually, because it's so little, I can actually shuffle it and bridge it the way normal people do. So that's the one that I keep in my purse, but I also have a few other small ones like that Morgan Greer and the Next World, and that Albano Waite that I use for traveling. And then finally, the last prompt that I was going to add on is decks that I love but don't really use. And again, I feel kind of silly saying that, but this is one. I love this deck. It's the La Corte dei Tarocchi. I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian, so I probably didn't say that right. I mean, honestly, just holding this deck makes me happy. It makes that that sound, that swooshing sound. The cardstock is, oh, just to feel it is amazing. The artwork is beautiful, but I don't read in these Marseille style decks very much. And so I love this deck. I take it out and I'll lay cards out with it, but I don't really use it to read with. I just use it to play with and to make me happy. So I do have a couple of decks that I have that I love but don't use. I also have a Thoth deck, a greenie, that is a study deck. I don't really read with Thoth. It's not my cup of tea, but I feel like as a someone who considers themselves a student of tarot, it's something that I should at least have some sort of understanding about. So, Anna, wow, this was a really fun tag. Thank you for starting it, and I've enjoyed watching other people's versions of this tag, and late to the party, but glad to finally join in. These are my cliched tarot aspects. Hope you're all enjoying the last days of summer in the Northern Hemisphere anyway, and leaping into spring in the Southern Hemisphere. So blessings to you, and enjoy your tarot cards.